Welcome at this talk about how to let the business discover that they want DevOps. Actually, my first question is your company already doing DevOps? Show me hands. Is it doing DevOps?
So and so.
So and so, more or less.
No, in some parts. Yes.
Yeah, it's some. Okay, yeah. Okay, so most of you are not doing that yet. This is, by the way, how I visualize IT. It's a 24/7 environment. It's complex. Only a few people know their way around here, and they absolutely know where they have to be if there is some kind of problem. And if something goes wrong, it terribly goes wrong. Well, that's what I call an analogy with IT. About myself, first of all, I'm a DevOps evangelist. And I'm especially interested in enterprise DevOps and in scaling agile. So because that's, for me, that are the biggest problems. I mean, setting up an agile team, setting up DevOps in a particular part of the company, well, that works quite fine. But rolling it out in the rest of the company, it's very difficult. So again, is your company doing DevOps? There were some 4 or 5 people entering after I asked the question. How many of you work in a company where they already doing DevOps? Only 2, 3. Okay. And has it to do with the business that you are not doing DevOps yet? Is it
It's not a clear answer.
Sorry?
It's not a clear answer, yes?
No. It might be related to the business. Okay. Because we all know, I think we all know, that there is a shiny business case for almost every DevOps implementation. Am I right? And the whole company would reap the benefits regarding speed, agility, and stability once we implemented DevOps. We know that. But it seems that our business doesn't. And actually, this old saying, good, cheap, and fast, we offer 3 kinds of service, you can pick only 2. Good and cheap won't be fast, fast and good won't be cheap, cheap and fast won't be good. Recognize that? If you deploy DevOps, actually you could say, we can provide fast, cheap, and good at the same time. So this saying is obsolete as soon as you roll out 100% DevOps. So, what are we waiting for? What is your boss waiting for? What is C-level waiting for? And what is your business waiting for? Do you recognize that? You are waiting for something? Anybody else? Yeah?
We are acting.
Yeah? Sorry?
We are acting. We are not waiting.
You're acting. You're doing as much as you can, but there is something holding you back, right?
Yes.
You could achieve much more if you would have cooperation from some parts of your company, right? Is that correct? That's what I see all the time in all the companies that I come. And what I've done, I've made you will see 7 surprises, actually, 7 weird things, and and I put words under it that resonate with the business. Actually, how to turn over your business, how to persuade your business. First of all, this. You know this, Scrum. Okay. What we do is, most of our companies do 2 or 3 week iterations. Is that also the case with you? Could you show hands for 2 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks? 1 week? 1 week? 1 day? No. Okay, so it's 2 or 3 weeks. And this one. How often do you release to your customer? Every 2 weeks. Show me hands, please. Every 3 weeks. Every month. Yeah, every quarter. So actually this is still the case. And what we see is that, just go back, here we got this finished work. Every sprint there is finished work. And we bring that to production. Not to production, it's just on the shelf actually. So another piece of finished work on the shelf, another piece of finished work on the shelf, and then we see that the tester says he discovers defects that a developer introduced 3 months ago. The developer says, okay, what did I build 3 months ago? The designer says, what did I design 6 months ago? And the user says, what did I ask for a long time ago? Recognize this? So why not release more often? What I saw in the company, one of the companies, and one of the big companies that I was last year, they say, okay, we got a lot of manual activities, preparation and tuning of scenarios, acceptance tests, deployments, conversions, all manual. And it took them 600 hours to bring one of those big releases to production. 600 hours to bring it to production. It was a very large company. Okay, why not automate? Because a lot of those things, a lot of those hours could be automated. There's no business case, because we don't do that often enough. And if we would automate it, next time we would use it, we should adapt it again, and there would never be a business case. So we keep the frequency low. It saves time for dev and ops, and it increases stability. But what we see here is a vicious circle. And what we heard in the other talk also is, if it hurts, you should do it more often. Just like a dentist. If you go to the dentist every day, it becomes a non-issue. No problem at all. So, actually, what you should do is discuss this particular vicious circle with your business, and that will help your business to realize that they don't want to pay for the waste that was on the last slide. They are now paying for all that waste. Second one. Most of you, I think, I am, most of us are still in a project-based organization. As soon as a project is ready with what they made, they put it into production, and it's some kind of mess over there. And what you actually want is, of course, a product-based organization where every team, dev and ops, is responsible for their particular code. How many of you are still in such an old project organization? Show me your hands, please. Okay, that's only 30%, I think. Yeah, more or less. Okay, yeah, because most organizations are shifting gradually from a project-based organization to a product-based organization. So what you eventually want is business, a service chain, and all the platforms that you need, including infrastructure, in one fully responsible, a multidisciplinary team, of course. And there is a lot less need to start projects if you bring all those changes, those small changes, to production. So instead of staffing projects, you bring the work to a Scrum team, no resource shuffling, you have reliable velocity, and you have a clear cost of ownership, because all those people, all those developers, those ops people are working for that particular client. So you could say, terminating your project organization will help your business to kill IT overhead cost, killing your project organization. So this might be a headline from the future. Scrum finally breaks through, and the number of newly launched projects decreased with 80% in the last 2 years. What do you think? In what year will this headline be in the newspapers? So looking back, and you see all the number of projects decreasing with 80 or 90%.
2 years, because it says it on the board.
Yeah. So that could be because it's happening already. That could be in 2017 or 2018. We see it very rapidly. For instance, a big insurance company, a big bank, I have to say, in the Netherlands, ING, they literally fired all their project managers. There is no project manager anymore within ING. Everything they do with the new way of working, the product-based teams. No projects anymore. And it works. Number 3, it's about the strategic alignment model enhanced. You have 3 columns, the business, the information, and the technology, and you have 3 layers, strategic, tactical, and operational. And you could say that, if you look at this, actually it's one big gearbox. All those wheels should work together in the business, in the information column, and the technical column, and also on all 3 levels, strategically, tactically, and operationally. What do you think? Where should I draw DevOps? In what part?
Over the wall.
Sorry?
Over it.
All over it, yeah. That should be the end state. But if you look at most of our organizations, where can I find DevOps? Yeah. Yeah. The lower right corner. Here is where DevOps starts. And what DevOps is doing, it is growing, actually. It is growing to the left because it is incorporating the information column and the business column, of course. And it is also becoming more and more tactical and even more strategical. So actually what you say, you want DevOps all over the place. But it all starts here. And it's very difficult to move to the left and move to the upper part. But if you do this, actually we have a push and a pull scenario. The push scenario says operational IT is getting mature and needs cooperation on a tactical and strategic level. And it needs maturity in the information and business column. So it is actually pushing itself from the lower right corner to the upper left corner. And the pull scenario, we also have that the business is evolving and increasing its IT demands and becoming aware of its IT dependence. So it's the business, the strategic business part, let's say the board, is actually also pulling. But push and pull are not connected yet. So we are pushing technically, and actually the business, the board is pulling strategically, and they haven't found each other. They are not connected yet. They are not working together yet. So thinking in 9 squares will help your business to get that gearbox working and integrate horizontally and vertically. 4th one. I took CA, Computer Associates, as an example. There is a white paper from Xebia Labs, and they say you should integrate the management track and the technical track. The management track is, for instance, CA Clarity, and Clarity is a tool that you can use to plan projects and plan resources. And you may know CA Harvest, that is used to push software down the deployment pipeline. And you would expect, if something happens here, something gets completed, for instance, here in the technical part, you would expect that you would see something happening here. Or you would expect, if you would plan something here or would allocate resources to a particular task, that you would see something starting here. It doesn't. The management track and the technical track, even in the tooling from the same vendor, are not connected at all. You know this one, the periodic table? And then I mean not the periodic table from your education, because then it was chemics. This is the periodic table from Xebia Labs. And actually it's all the tooling that they see as part of DevOps. And I think you will find all the tools you are familiar with You will find them in this particular periodic table. You can also add tools if you think there are, for a specific part, if there are better tools, just add a tool and make it part of this periodic table. So, we are talking about integrating the management track in a technical track, and that will help your business to have information flow easier vertically and horizontally. And there's of course this well-known picture about shitheads and assholes. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So, thinking about those tooling, it's quite difficult because also the people who work with that particular tooling, it's the same as in the 9-square model. People in the upper left part of the organization are working with particular tooling, and the DevOps people in the lower right corner are also working with particular tooling. It is not related. Next one. What is more important, a short MTTR or a long MTBF? And MTTR, I mean mean time to repair, MTBF, mean time between failure. What is more important? What is for you more important?
Depends from business.
Sorry?
It depends from business.
Yeah, depending on the business. Yeah, okay, okay, but
Because for financial, it's it should be more stable system.
yeah,
And financial sector is not so quite changing
uh-huh,
features.
yeah. So even within a financial company, it differs. What?
From Facebook, Twitter, or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Because what John Ospaw says, and you know John Ospaw from Etsy, of course, and also from his famous talk at one of the DevOps events in 2009. He says, okay, failure, you could say even as a financial, failure is not acceptable, but it will happen. It will happen. So MTTR is more important than MTBF, is what he says, in all cases, and you should at least spend as much time on the response to a failure than the time you spend at preventing that failure. And actually, is what he says is that MTBF is only interesting for space hardware and for embedded medical devices, because once you have launched something into space, it's very difficult to get there and repair it. And the other one is embedded medical devices. If it is in your chest, then, well, you would like a very nice MTBF, of course. And he says, actually, of course, yeah. And for all the other things, it's actually MTTR. So also for a financial, in a broad sense, it's also MTTR. At least you could say I should focus more on MTTR than I do now. Let me put the question in another way. Where is your main focus in your organization now? Is it MTBF? Please show me hands. Is it MTBF? Or is it MTTR? MTBF? MTBF? Yeah, it's only three hands. And MTTR? It's also 3 hands. Oh, so it's 50-50. And the rest of the people in this room are not aware of the particular focus then, I guess, in their company. Okay. But realize that if you don't do anything, if you are not working on that particular focus at all, automatically you will focus on this. That is actually what happens. So if you don't know, it's this. So actually, that means that only, well, a very small part of the organizations also here, but also worldwide, are focusing on MTTR.
It's still tricky. If you think about this in terms of publicity, say you're financial in the financial industry, a bank, for instance. What would you want to choose from on the front page of the newspaper? A major outage at this bank, or yet another outage at this bank?
I haven't seen this headline. Major outage fixed quickly.
Yeah.
There's no such headline.
Yeah. But what you could say is, well, there was an outage, but it only lasted for 3 minutes, and almost nobody even noticed that. That fast it was repaired. So that would be the outcome of a good MTTR. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Failed for 3 days to make payments.
Okay. Yeah. So that suggests that they have been focusing on that MTBF for a long time, and it also all went right. But the moment they went down for 3 days. So the MTTR was very bad, I guess. Okay, so focusing more on MTTR will help your business towards IT that meets their needs. And actually, I have 2 green cars for you. They should, yeah, 2 green cars. And actually, the right car, the military car, it's actually built for MTTR. There's a very nice video on internet of the Canadian Army who disassembles and assembles such a vehicle in 4 minutes, under 4 minutes. Disassembling, assembling. You can hardly believe what they're doing, because it's really built for MTTR. Number 6, very important one. I use this a lot. In this room, in previous presentations, we already talked about technical debt. If you have no time in your company for getting rid of technical debt and improvements, you will see that, and the blue is the functionals, what you bring to production on functional changes for your customer, and yellow is defects. And that means that over time you will get more and more defects, and when you're here, actually you're spending more time on defects than on adding functionality for your customer. And of course, your customer thinks it's okay because, well, sure, you need. He wants extra functionality, and he wants you to fix those defects. Of course, both of it. But there are 2 other colors, because the blue is actually from the product owner, the yellow is actually from the tester, the red one, that's the technical debt, and the owner of it is actually the architect. And we also have the improvement backlog, and that should be the Scrum Master who owns that. Actually, you want a 4-color backlog. A 4-color backlog, not only consisting of blue and yellow, I always call that an IKEA backlog, but also red and green. And what you see, when you apply also red and green, then the number of defects will go down. And this is structural. So actually more than half of it is functionality that you can that your customer will be very happy about. But you have to apply in every sprint red, green, and yellow. But then again, you have to bite the bullet, of course, because if you are already here and you are also applying this layer of red and layer of green, and you do it here, that means it's yellow, red, and green, no blue. So actually that means a refactoring sprint. Dear customer, I'm doing refactoring. Next sprint, you will not see any difference from the outside. No extra functionality. Who of you ever did a refactoring sprint for his business. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's about I think about 20%. Yeah. But I think you had a tough discussion with your business about that first refactoring sprint. Yeah, I see people nodding. Yeah.
The question is if we did the refactoring sprint before or after a major system crash.
Yeah. So actually, you needed that crash to convince them. Right. Yeah. Okay. So biting the bullet. Biting this bullet will help your business towards a world with more blue in their backlog. And actually, this particular slide, this one, and this one, but also this one, helped me a lot in getting the right discussion with the business. So there are 4 colors actually. Yeah, there are 4 colors. And if you are only applying 2, it seems all right from when you start with it, but in the end, it's not a final solution. You will get in trouble. 7.1. Fully automated to production. Who of you is partially capable of bringing changes fully automated to production? I see 1.5 hand. Capable of. Okay. And who yeah, okay. And who and who is also doing that? No hands. Okay. I see half a hand. Okay. From our sponsor, yeah. But who is against that? There are a lot of people are against that. For instance, yeah, you.
Yes.
You are against it.
I'm capable and against it.
You're capable and against it because?
In the background of my company, I work at Ericsson, so it has a lot of hardware involved.
Yeah.
The notion of fully automated testing is still a question mark from my side. So until then, I have doubts. I'm not against it, but I have doubts.
Yeah. What I also see is that for instance, a change manager is against it because he said, well, I am responsible. So I want to see it all. I want to see every change that goes to production. And then when I say, okay, actually all the checks that you would normally do, we do now automated, and you can see it in the logs. Every check you would do is being done without you. Yeah, I still want to see it. Okay. And then we have another example is security. We say, okay, security, all the checks that you would do now happen automatically. Are you not happy?
Because it's a different report.
Yeah, no, even.
Our format, not in yours.
Yeah, that could be a problem. But then again, he says, okay, I just wanna see it. Yeah, that's no reason. I mean, we are implementing all the checks that you have delivered at us. And you still are not. You're not okay with that automation. And yeah, it's just cultural. It's actually a feeling, and you have to break through that. And it just takes time, because in the end, it's also for the change manager. And in the end, we did for some particular changes, some particular standard changes, we managed to get an agreement from the change manager and from security management because, we had about 12 weeks with semi-automated production streaks, and actually what we say, okay, after those 12 weeks, okay, we start to believe that in this particular for this particular changes, that should be a possibility. But it just takes time. It's just cultural, just a feeling. So if this is already a problem, then what I don't dare to mention is, for instance, the chaos monkey. I think you all know the chaos monkey, and it evolved, of course. What you are actually talking about, actually you're going from resilience testing, you are going to enter anti-fragility approach, and the chaos monkey already evolved in the chaos gorilla, the chaos cone, and a lot of other monkeys doing random things in the organization. It's all based actually on the novel from Nassim Nicholas Taleb about Antifragile, good book. And what you actually can see, and that's based on a white paper from Society, designed to disrupt. They say when the black swan comes, actually you don't want this orange one. That's a resilience system. When the black swan comes, it gets only to this particular level, not better than it was. And if you have a resilient system, like in those simian armies, the resilient system gets better after a black swan. So that's actually what you want. So every time a monkey is getting around in your system will get better after the monkey has left the building. And other things I don't dare to mention is, for instance, continuous delivery as code. Is some of you, are they already applying continuous delivery as code? And with that I mean that also your deployment pipeline sits in a file. So there is actually no deployment pipeline until I need it. And then I deploy it, my change goes through the deployment pipeline, and after that, my deployment pipeline is gone. Who of you is already using that? Nobody, okay. There was one of the former speakers works with that already, but I don't dare to mention that to my business. And also the dismissal of testing. Testing as we know it, as we have been doing that for years, it will disappear. It becomes scripting, it becomes coding, actually. And of course, some testers, some functional testers, you will need them. But a lot of testing will switch. Yeah. Does that resonate with you? I would say about 85, 90%. Yeah.
Always be a dream.
Sorry?
Always be a dream.
That it could be done automatically. Because?
The UI testing cannot be.
The UI testing, right.
Cannot be done
No.
in scripting.
Right, right.
There's always a human
yeah.
factor. The human.
Yeah. So that part is actually should be done manually, and some person should be involved. And actually, the person I talked to early this day about continuous delivery as code, you are working with it, right? So if you have any questions about it, you could ask him. But my point is actually is that doing DevOps will help your business in their own pace. So you have to dose it. You have to dose DevOps. So not full swing from the very first moment, and actually letting them know what will happen in the next few years. And you don't know yourself even, because it will evolve over time. But actually, your business only show what they can expect in the next year, and that will shake the world more than they are willing to accept, I think. So, I would say good, cheap, and fast. With DevOps, it will become actually a reality that you can provide those three services at the same time. Do I have still time? 5 minutes, okay. Are there any questions up till now?
Not about your slide, but related to the topic. If you're talking about convincing organizations to take DevOps,
Yeah.
how do you take it from the bottom up? Like the development team wants to do it, but management is against it, or doesn't understand why. How do we sell it to them like that?
Yeah. Now, well, that's exactly the reason that I'm talking about convincing your business. Because if you are putting all the effort in the IT column, you are fighting actually alone with your management, for instance, or between dev and ops. If you convince your business from the fact that they should want DevOps, they start to pull. It's actually the slide with the 9 squares that I showed you. At the particular point that they are convinced, they will help you pulling, and you can push, and then it will, in the end, it will touch each other, and then you have one strong force into that direction, and it just will help you. Yeah. Another question.
Coming back to the very beginning, when you said that you're keen of enterprise and scale.
Yeah.
And coming to that picture, in the middle there is a word cheap.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate the word cheap? What do you understand from that? Because as myself as also an enterprise operation, then cheap is not maybe the word we know if it comes to.
Yeah.
I am in the telco business, so I know what the
I think it's in particular about reducing waste. And reducing all the waste that should not be there makes it much cheaper. But cheap in a way that, there's a good relationship between value and the money you pay for it. That's what I call cheap.
Still, I didn't catch the point.
Really, that's cheaper than today.
Yeah.
Not cheap, but it is very cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Cheaper, it means what then? Cheaper than today. I
Yeah.
still need the idea of actually the DevOps and how to implement is that you have tools that collaborate with each other.
Yeah.
It means that if we want it out of the box, you have to also pay for that. So it's not as cheap as it is. But that's why I was thinking where the cheapness of that comes from. I understand that you don't have the waste, then it's okay.
But
was something more behind that.
Yeah, for instance, if you're talking about software out of the box, you could say, okay, that's maybe relatively cheap, and you get it fast because it already is there, and you can just buy it and you have it. But maybe it does not fit that good with your organization. So it won't be as good as it would have been if you had it developed tailored for your specifically for your organization. For instance. So actually, there's the cheap and the good and the fast. There are a lot of aspects to that. Yeah. Another question.